Hey guys, welcome to Dweeb Reviews Invincible, episode 6 here on Dweeb Culture. My name's Mitch, and we're going to pick up right now with the ongoing review we're doing of Amazon Prime's Invincible series. Here on episode 6, You Look Kinda Dead. The story progresses forward at, again, another measured pace. We're kind of starting to see now that the route and pacing that Amazon wants to take with this show seems to be fairly steady. Some episodes being more case of the week, some episodes being more of a larger story progression moving forward, always with some of that main overarching plot moving forward. But only here and there them throwing sort of, crazy changes, which I'm all right with. I don't know exactly how long this story is. Like I said before in a previous episode, I haven't read the comics, but I know it's a long comic series, and it seems like they're kind of designing Invincible to have a Game of Thrones sort of pace, going from episode to episode, carrying the overarching storyline along. 3 major different stories are covered in this episode, but only a small bit of progression in each. So the first one, let's just talk about it. The ending of last episode was crazy with the massive fight scene at the end, Invincible being hurt, the Guardians of the Globe being just torn apart, 2 potential members, or not potential members, sorry, 2 members potentially dead. And then they kind of wrap that up in this episode like right away. In fact, it's the very first scene where we start to get into what happens here with Robot, with Black Samson, Monster Girl, and Invincible himself, of course. So it starts off, Invincible is being treated at the medical facility of the GDA, as well as Monster Girl and Black Samson. Invincible, I guess the suspense of this is actually blown over pretty quickly. We saw the massive damage he sustained at the end of the last episode. Of course, the show's named Invincible. They're not going to actually kill him off on episode 6, so there wasn't really too much to worry about. But it seems that he makes a full recovery fairly quickly. Monster Girl's recovery is probably a slower one throughout this episode, but even then, by the end of the episode, she reaches full recovery. And almost immediately at the beginning of the episode, Black Samson seems to recover by gaining his powers back, at least presumably. It sounds like whatever happened, him flatlining on the table restarts his powers. And to my knowledge, it hasn't really cleared how he lost his powers in the first place or what his powers even are. That's about it, though, that we see of the Guardians of the Globe. I mean, most of the story with them here in this episode revolves around Robot caring for Monster Girl. We still don't know if he's actually a person or just a machine or what. He seems to be more emotionally intelligent than he lets on with a little brief conversation he has with Black Samson. And then, of course, the Mauler twins, the 2 blue clones that he's hired to grow whatever little creature thingy this is. They still haven't revealed it. I think this is really kind of the big plot with Robot and the Guardians of the Globe moving forward is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? And what exactly is it that they're doing here? Because we do know that whatever this is has some sort of Rexplodes DNA in it, whether it be a new hero he's building from scratch or whether it be a clone to replace Rex. I don't know. The majority of this episode really revolves around Mark's personal life, which it's okay to have episodes like that. It does develop the characters further. We kind of see his relationship with Amber fall apart even more. Even though the episode starts off with like a quick rekindling, he passes off the story of being hit by a bus. They both agree to go with Will to visit Will's boyfriend at the nearby college. They tour the college. All those scenes, it's not a lot of story progression moving forward. Ultimately, the main change in Mark's personal life comes from the introduction of this villain Sinclair, his robo cyborg man, and this particular scene where Mark is face to face in his civilian form with a super threat, with a super villain threat, and has to adorn the Invincible identity to protect his friends. Will, of course, here finally discovers that Mark is invincible, and it's actually pretty cool. I mean, you guys know if you've been watching that I'm a fan of Will, and I like the direction that they've gone with him as a character so far. So I like that they not introduced, but revealed Mark's identity as invincible to Will. It gives him somebody other than a superhero accomplice to be involved in his life, who knew him before he had superpowers too, which is pretty cool. I mean, there's a lot of superheroes that have this type of friendship with other characters too, and it often pays off. Of course, he still is not ready to reveal that he's invincible to Amber. This causes division when she, rightfully so, believes that he just, every man for himself, abandoned her during the middle of this crazy attack. And it seems like their relationship is just on the outs now, completely, which more or less it could have been at the end of the last episode. So this episode really just acts to possibly solidify that, or I'm not quite sure. I mean, the whole nature of having Amber here, if they wanted them to just break up, I feel like they had a really good point to do that on the last episode when he didn't show up to the soup kitchen to help out because he was, being attacked, really. But ultimately, this plot line ends with the Sinclair's kidnapping people to make supermen for some reason storyline. He kidnaps Will's boyfriend Rick, turns Rick into a super cyborg, who I imagine we're going to see again, because Rick manages to override his brainwashing or whatever and kind of come back to help save Will and Invincible during the final fight scene. It was cool. It was enjoyable. It was entertaining. Doesn't seem to be, at least immediately, anything that I think we're going to have to worry about or have any long-lasting impact. Really, the main thing for Mark's personal life is that Will now knows that Mark is invincible. And then finally, it's what seems to be kind of the larger, I guess, maybe season plot line of Omni-Man. Not much, or not many, I should say, scenes involving Omni-Man in this particular episode. Just one major development that really gets addressed this episode, which is Debbie takes the suit she found to Nolan's tailor, where they both do kind of a DNA breakdown over it and find out that based on the evidence on the suit, it would appear that Omni-Man attacked the Guardians of the Globe first, and he's the one that killed them. I kind of thought that Debbie would sit on this info a little bit, and they would build tension with it. But really, at the end of the episode, has a scene between the two where, when drinking, Debbie confronts Nolan, saying she knows that he killed the Guardians of the Globe. He denies it, and she goes to bed. It really ends with Omni-Man punching a hole through his wall and then sitting on his couch. His world kind of upside down now, and we still don't know why he did it. We don't really know what's going on through his head, where his true allegiances lie. I've posed my theory that it's his intention to conquer the world, but he actually seems to care when Debbie finds out that he killed the Guardians of the Globe. And ultimately, it's a pretty ballsy move of her to call him out on it, because he's an alien god, essentially. And if he's capable of doing that sort of thing, I'm kind of surprised why she operates under the assumption that he won't just get rid of her to keep the truth secret. We'll see. We'll see. She must obviously believe that he does honestly love her, which I think he's shown in the previous episodes, but I am really curious what's going on with Omni-Man and what the story will be moving forward from here. Now, all things considered, like I mentioned, that's kind of more or less what happens this episode. I thought the episode was good. I'm I'm at the point right now, as I've voiced before on the show now, I'm just excited for every episode. Every time an episode comes out Friday, I wake up early, I watch it so I can get this out to you guys quick, and I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next week. I imagine we're going to get more of Amber. What happens with that? Is the relationship really over? And, there were some brief scenes involving Adam Eve as she kind of went to figure out her own thing. But really, I think now we get to see kind of the start of the formation between a relationship between Invincible and Adam Eve. That's probably most likely for Mark's personal life and what's going on with that moving forward. But now that his mother and father seem to be, well, in conflict at the very least, we'll see if anything changes at home. Does Omni-Man kill his wife? Does Mark now enter into a situation where he no longer has a mother and he only has his alien father? I don't know. Very curious to see what happens in this next episode, specifically with the Omni-Man storyline. And then, of course, I think we're going to have some fun now that that Will can be Invincible's kind of, man in the chair, maybe, if to make a reference to Spider-Man, or even just a friend that kind of knows his secret that he can share things with now. That's not a potential love interest, because so far he's only been going through Adam Eve or talking to his dad. But yeah, overall pretty good episode. I enjoyed it. Not, the most exciting episode, especially coming off of last week's craziness, but I liked it, and hope you guys did too. Thank you again for tuning in. I know this is a shorter episode, but I don't mind it. I like it. All right, guys, have a good one, and be sure to check out our other content in the form of our Falcon and Winter Soldier reviews, which actually has all the guys in it, and not just me. All right, thank you guys. Have a good one.